So, if you guys listened to our last episode, Ina Scarda actually took our challenge to a different level and said, with the 3 seconds of guts, I challenge you guys to do something and have 3 seconds of guts every day for 30 days. And so we are in that challenge right now. We've already learned so much. So we want to share with you what we're learning.
I think the takeaways of that, the unexpected lessons that we learned from this that we didn't anticipate, I think that's kind of for me the fun part. I think that's really exciting.
I thought this challenge would be for specific outcomes, and it's been completely different than anything I had ever thought it would be, and all really, really good.
This podcast is for the rebels,
The misfits, the dreamers.
who really are sick of living on autopilot.
Every week, we strip away the excuses, we break the rules, we give you bold, actionable strategies.
So you can crush your habits that hold you back,
Ditch the job you hate.
build a life that you actually want to wake up to.
No fluff,
No permission slips
just real talk, proven tools, and a healthy dose of rebellion.
to help you break free and rise higher and own your next chapter.
This isn't just a podcast, it's an escape plan.
If you are sick of just following status quo, you have just found your people. Welcome to another episode of 3 Seconds of Guts. So happy you're here. I'm Tom Scarda with Melissa.
Lewis.
There you
So
go.
happy to be here. Thank you, Tom.
I just want to see if you were awake. If you are, 1,000%, as always, spot on. So excited about this. We have so much to talk about in our little challenge that we did.
So, if you guys listened to our last episode, Ina Scarda actually took our challenge to a different level and said, with the 3 seconds of guts, I challenge you guys to do something and have 3 seconds of guts every day for 30 days. And so we are in that challenge right now. We've already learned so much. So we want to share with you what we're learning, some of the challenges, some of the things that we've done. What else today, Tom?
I think the takeaways of that, the unexpected lessons that we learned from this that we didn't anticipate, I think that's kind of for me the fun part. I think that's really exciting.
The unexpected parts for me too. I thought this challenge would be for specific outcomes, and it's been completely different than anything I had ever thought it would be, and all really, really good.
Yeah, and so for us also, Melissa and I belong to an accountability group, mainly for habits, and it's all attached to fitness. So we tacked on this 30-day challenge to that. So we learned a little bit of habit stacking, which comes from Atomic Habits by James Clear. So we're very into trying new things now because we've been exercising our guts and not our
just
core.
like our inside, like probiotic gut of all of our health things that we do, but using our challenge of really, what can you do every day that makes you uncomfortable? What can you do of something that just takes 3 seconds? That's it. And that's the other thing that I learned. The thing I love about this is that every day my kids keep me accountable. Mom, what did you do today for your 3 seconds? And they have ideas. So my son had an idea yesterday that might have to be mine today. I have a tendency to complain about the time change because I don't think we should have time changes. And our lovely behind the scenes, Emily, who helps us with our podcast, she lives in Arizona. So they're doing things the right way. They don't have one. So last night, my son was like, you said you were going to reach out to the government and the MAHA movement and say, if we're all interested in health, maybe we should change the time changes, which I found funny. He's coming up with ideas for me. So good thing that those kids, they keep me accountable.
Right. And so, and that's a great point, is that the 3 seconds of guts doesn't mean like you have to go skydiving. That's not what it's about. But it's in your everyday life, doing things that you wouldn't do, or things maybe even that you would procrastinate on. Like, yeah, I've been angry for 40 years about this time change thing, and now I'm finally doing something about it. And you may not have any results, but that's not the point. The point is to take the 5 minutes to send the email, to figure out who your congressperson is, and then send it out. That that's part of it. It's getting you out of your procrastination zone.
That's the number one thing, Tom. It's funny. We have not spoken about our results, what we've been doing. We haven't spoken anything. We wanted to save this for you guys today and just share it very live and very real and raw. And the number one thing I realized is that most of my 3 seconds were things I would typically put off and procrastinate. And I learned a lot about myself of where the trends are that I tend to procrastinate. And some of mine were, believe it or not, health things, like little things that I don't want to do that scare me. And I would just lean in that day and say, usually it would take me a week, a month, 6 months sometimes to schedule this appointment or do what the doctor told me or whatever. And I just did it. And the thing I learned was that I procrastinate on the stuff that I don't like or makes me uncomfortable. And when you do it, then it's done. And you feel so much more accomplished and better. And these little pieces of not procrastinating, I feel are little building blocks of self confidence that you start to build because you don't negotiate with yourself. You do it and you do it right away and you feel better with each little building block.
It's exercising a muscle. It's exactly the same thing. What I learned about myself is that, I know that I don't like conflict, and so I will avoid things. And so, because of the 3 seconds of guts, I was like, "Wow, here's God presenting an opportunity to me for me to exercise my 3 seconds of guts and stand up for myself." That's the thing, is that I'll let things pass, and sometimes I'll feel like a doormat because I didn't stand up for myself. But this past month, I've been like, well, no, let me explain to you how I feel about that, and really, not being mean or anything, and not pushing back on people, but just saying like, hey, let me express my opinion, my feeling about whatever the situation might be.
And so, what is the result of that?
The results of that is that I get a lot more done, number one, but I get a lot more positive result than I would have ever gotten before. I've gotten like, oh, I thought that you felt this way about it. I was just assuming. And if I didn't say something about it, everything would have been done in that particular project under an assumption, which was wrong.
Right. So, I've learned a couple lessons. I mean, do you want to share some of the lessons that we've learned?
Sure. I mean, I just want to quickly explain that, just for people who didn't listen to the last episode, what we decided is to do one thing every day to help push the envelope a little bit on our comfort zone. And we thought that we were helping ourselves build habits, but we learned so much more from it. One thing that I realized is that I've been doing a lot of things that a lot of people don't do on a regular basis because I've tried to push myself out of my comfort zone many times in the past, including, quitting a government job to buy a franchise, things like that, which that's a major thing. But the little things, asking, telling somebody at customer service on the telephone, like, no, you're not happy with that result and you want to get, a free whatever, you know, and whether they say yes or not doesn't matter. What matters is that you had the chutzpah to ask.
Love that word. I don't think I could say it the right way, but I love it. The whole point here is doing it. It's not the result. And when you don't care about the result, then you tend to do it because you have to check it off. And that's what we like so much about this challenge, is that it just forces you to do things that you typically wouldn't do. Just small little things, right? 3 seconds of guts doesn't mean you need 30 minutes of guts. It's just a small little thing and it becomes a strategy. It becomes an action. It becomes a habit, right? And that's what has helped us so much. So, as Tom said, it's a muscle. Once you start getting out of your comfort zone or speaking up, that was one for me. So, you said conflict. One of the lessons I learned is to use my voice, because I have that tendency too of it's fine, I won't say anything. And then I would say, well, actually, I disagree with that. Or I'm not going to take that on. Like, for me to find my voice and then also use my voice in a very nice way, but to make sure I'm saying the things that are important to me. So that was another, once again, we haven't spoken about this, but that was the same thing that I recognized as well.
And something that I just realized as you're talking and I'm thinking about my experience doing this is that I have this weird thing, like I don't like authority. So I avoid asking for something because I'm afraid that they're going to say no, which is going to then make me mad and say, screw this authority, whatever it might be. And then I realized, like, so because of the challenge, I did normally what I wouldn't do, asking for extra help at a store, which is kind of a guy thing. Like, you don't want to ask for directions. Um, and I and I found that, people were very, very helpful. They weren't pushing back on me. They were like, "Oh, you need that? Sure, we'll help you with that."
Yeah, I think we make things bigger in our head because we worry about the result. And then we find out these things really aren't that big once you start doing them. At least that's what I noticed is it gets so the number one thing I wrote down from the challenge of what I'm noticing is it gets easier. And
Hmm.
you and I at least I start to habit stack? Couple of them, right? Well, I did that, then I might as well do another phone call. Or I might as well ask for something else that I've been putting off. So the procrastination was the second thing on there is that these are just things that I typically would push off and then they take up this space in my brain and in my heart and everywhere, right? Because you should be doing them, but you're not doing them. And then that kind of weighs on you. So when you just do it, you just do it. And you don't really care about the outcome because you kind of get the check mark of like, I did my challenge today. And then you start seeing that these are easier and easier and easier to do.
And then you
And
start to notice that people start saying yes more and more, which is crazy. Like, I don't have an exact stat, but I think somewhere around 65% of the things that I asked for or pushed back on or voiced my opinion about ended up going my way. And so,
you never would have known if you didn't ask, right?
you don't get what you don't ask for, right?
Yeah.
And and so one of the I just have to share this because this is like I'm still astounded by this. One of the first things that I did once we decided we're going to do this challenge, I was in the airport going to pick up my daughter Andrea and my son-in-law Michael and our two grandkids, and they were delayed, so I parked and I went in the airport, and there's the PGA golf store, and I was like, "Oh, let me look around." And they were doing like a clearance on these like golf vests, which I already have one. I don't need one, but they were 50% off. So they're significantly discounted. And I'm like, I don't really need one. But the lady came over to me. She goes, "You have any questions? Can I help you?" I was like, "Can you do any better on this price?" And she said, "Well, are you a senior?" I was like, "Well, first, I'm not going to get insulted, but no, I'm not." And she said, "Okay, don't tell anybody. I'm going to give you 10% off and I'm going to mark it down as a senior discount." And so I got 60% off of this vest that I didn't need.
That you
But
never gotten.
for that price, who cares?
Now you have another vest you don't need. But the point is, you asked and you received. Yeah.
It's biblical. It's biblical.
Mm-hmm.
Ask and you
Totally.
shall receive.
It's very
And
true.
there's so many things. And I started getting kind of deep about it. I started really like meditating on this stuff and thinking like, yeah, it is biblical. And it is also like in the the plantic scale. I'm saying the word wrong. I'm sorry. Getting down into the minutia of metaphysics, we could move things, right? If you have the faith of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. And so I realized, like, hey, I have faith and confidence in myself. I'm just gonna ask, or I'm just gonna voice my opinion. And like you said, it gets easier.
It gets easier and you build more confidence the more you do it. The more you speak up, you use your voice, you do things that scare you, you're uncomfortable for a little bit, you don't procrastinate. These are all things that help build self confidence and make you feel better. And the more that we can handle discomfort, the more that we're going to be able to grow in life because growth takes a little bit of discomfort and that's the whole point of the 3 seconds is just do it. Right? Just take the 3 seconds. So I want to share a couple of stories of things that we've actually done. So I love that story. The first one, so I went big or go home, right? So go big or go home was what we talked about. So in first day, I asked Mel Robbins to be on the podcast, which highly doubt she's going to be on the podcast. And I do want to say that her team got back to us with the most lovely note. I mean, I was actually very impressed because they sent an email back. They were incredibly kind. They didn't ignore me, right? I found that really great. But I also thought, you know, And I did say, not yet. We're not ready yet, maybe, but we will be someday. So someday we will have Mel Robbins on here. But good for her to have a great team and to be so gracious with people asking. But why not? Right? And who knows? We'll see
Yeah.
her on here someday. Couple of the other things that I noticed was it was harder for me to do things. This is kind of tough to say, but with people who are close to me than people I don't know. So to reach out to Mel Robbins, not as hard as to maybe make a suggestion or use my voice for a loved one or to speak up when I don't like something. So the people around me, I actually noticed was a little bit harder because we love them or I love them so much and I don't want to disappoint them or come across in a different way. And, growth sometimes takes that you're not in the bucket that everybody thinks that you're in. So that was another thing that I noticed.
So interesting. Oh my goodness. And it's all about finding out about yourself. It's self-discovery. Um
Discount.
and
Yeah.
it just, you know, the thing is what I've noticed is that when you push yourself out of your comfort zone, magical things happen. And self-discovery is part of that magical thing. Finding out things that you didn't know about yourself. Um
And
just
growing so that you're ready for more. Sometimes we're not ready and we need some of that growth. And once you grow, then you can attract the things you're actually ready for.
and then it builds your armor, I'll call it armor, of rejection, because we get scared. Like, one thing I hate is being rejected, because I was rejected when I asked my very first girl out for a date when I in 7th grade, and she said no.
I think we all hate that.
I carry that around. Like, people carry this. I carried this around for years. Um, but once you realize, like, a rejection is not, it's not a no, it's redirection, right?
Or
That's a
not now. It's not about you. It's just maybe right not now. It's not now.
right.
One of the things that I've always loved, I love Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx and now the founder of Sneaks. I follow her. She's just a very strong entrepreneurial woman. She's a great founder, takes care of her employees. She says that I think it was her father, would ask her and her siblings every day, how did you fail today? And I think there's a lot to be said about that is that we always want to succeed and get that, atta girl and the oxytocin of feeling good and what do we do good. But sometimes really what we need to do is try things that scare us or fail or, fall on your face a little bit. And so I've been thinking about that with my kids of this 3 seconds of what did you do today that scared you? What did you do that felt uncomfortable? Because I think if we once again use that muscle, we're going to get more comfortable. And then that's the only way to continue growing and reaching your goals.
If you reframe failure to be rite of passage, it just makes it easier. So this is, oh yeah, it didn't work out the way I intended it. You learn something. So sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And so let's reframe the word failure, and maybe not even use the word failure, but
I don't like the word either.
use lesson, but what am I going to learn from trying this?
Doesn't
And
Tom
that's
have
what,
the best sayings?
what's
You
that?
you have the best sayings.
Oh,
You're just so
thank you.
sage.
But when we talk about what we learn, like, that's probably the overarching thing from the 30 seconds of guts challenge, is that failure is not failure. It's not an F word, but it's really something that builds our confidence and allows us to do God's work, if you will, right?
Absolutely.
Really help people
Better.
on.
If you're trying to get 1% better, like James Clear says in Atomic Habits, which is funny because I actually was just referencing, I'm back, but I have the book right here. I was just referencing and going through it yesterday. Like, highly recommend this book for habits and habit stacking and doing things a little bit at a time. You don't eat an elephant by stuffing that whole elephant in your mouth. You do it by little things, little bites at a time. That's what the 3 seconds of guts is all about, is little steps forward.
This is
I
great.
want, I
Go
want to
ahead.
share one thing that the number one lesson, and I shared this with Tom a little bit, that really surprised me about this challenge. So I thought this was going to be about asking big things and, reaching out to Mel Robbins or Gary Vee or whatever. And some of that, yes. The hardest thing This is incredibly vulnerable for me, but I'm going to be very honest with you guys. The hardest thing for me for this challenge, completely the opposite of everything I thought it was going to be. There were a few days where it was the weekend. I didn't have a lot of time. It was the end of the day, and I'm thinking, what can I do? Right. So I sometimes would ask ChatGPT, like, what's the 3 seconds of guts thing I can do today? And a few of the times it was going internal, being quiet, being still. There was two times I did this, which was called a mirror exercise. And you literally look at yourself in the mirror and you say things to yourself that you wouldn't typically do. Now, this was really uncomfortable and really amazing all at the same time. And the one that was the hardest for me, that was also the best, was forgive you, Melissa. I forgive you for anything that I've been holding on to. So the first time I did it, I did just a little bit, right? It was kind of like a couple little things. I wasn't getting actually real and deep with myself because also it's weird to talk to yourself in the mirror. But the second time, I actually wanted to get real. I wanted to really do this and go deep and go real. And I went through a list of things that I kind of have carried around my whole life that maybe I felt guilty or whatever it was that I still had on my heart. And I just looked myself in the mirror and said, I forgive you, right? You were doing the best that you could. I love you. And I talked to myself like I talked to my daughter, just
Mm.
life changing. It took 30 seconds, but I haven't forgotten it. And I feel like a big weight has been lifted off of me after that. So that was the best thing I did. And it was something that took no time at all.
I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, I mean, that's the takeaway right there. And by the way, thank you for being so vulnerable and being able to say that publicly. And that could count as your 3 seconds of gut challenge for today.
There we go. Check. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. It was
Uh,
big. And I shared that with Tom because Tom got sick in the middle of the challenge, was really, really sick. And I said, hey, there's some things that you could do without having to stop the challenge, but that might be, just easy that you can do when you're home versus feeling like you have to be out in the community and whatnot. So there's always something. Think of, what do you procrastinate? What do you want? What's a small thing that you can do today? And we challenge you guys, take the challenge with us. We want to hear how you're growing and living and doing things that scare you and make you uncomfortable. Because if we do it together, it's easier, right? We
yeah.
all have each other to lean on.
So let us know what you're doing for your challenge, and we'll be happy to coach you on it and help you get through those humps. Because I've had a few, and Melissa has had a few going through this. Um, it's only going to help you and your family. One of the things that I did that was very simple is I told my wife that I'm grateful for her and her cooking. Like, she was floored after being married 38 years. Like, I don't think I've ever said it, like, yeah, I love you. Thank you, whatever. But I never like just stopped and said, I'm really grateful for you and the way you cook. Thank you
And
for
she is
making this
great.
dinner for me. Like that, man, that goes a long way. And if you're not married, it could be just to a friend or your workmate. Thanks for coming in today and helping with the workload. I mean, just things like that. Get out of your comfort zone, make it happen. It makes the world a better place. So this
100%.
is awesome.
100% join us. We want you guys to join us in this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be a couple days here, one time, whatever it is. Try it. You'll be surprised at how life changing and how simple this can be.
Go to the 3 Seconds of Guts YouTube channel, and that's where you could communicate with us and let us know what you're doing uh, for your challenge. We appreciate
Great.
you listening in again.
Like, subscribe, comment, tell us about your challenge, your 3 seconds, because we want to do this together. As we do it together, it gets easier, and we can't thank you guys enough for being here.
Thank you, everyone.